G'day everyone and welcome back to another edition of Damo's Team Talk coming out of round 13, and we're halfway through the bye period, and this week was quite a favourable one to me, which I'll delve into in a moment. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our content or liked the content that you've seen thus far, feel free to give us a big old thumbs up, give us a hit on the subscribe, and we'll be very, very grateful for that and for your support ongoing. Liam and myself, we're trying to head towards the 1K mark, so if you can help us there, you'd be an absolute champion. So let's delve into it, shall we? Check out how I went on the weekend. So ended up scoring a 2,210 and ended up actually cutting my rank, by virtually by a third, which was good to see. Ended up climbing 410 ranking spots to now sit 1,163rd overall. So I'm knocking on the door of the 1K mark. Hopefully I can enter the 1K proper coming out of the bye round. So that's virtually the goal come round 16 or at the end of round 15. So let's delve into how my team went in a little bit more detail on the weekend. We'll just undo changes there because I've just switched around a few players. So that's how it looked. As you can see there, I did pretty well on the whole. Ended up having, I think it was 21 players in the end. And the scores that dropped out were as follows. So it was Tom Green, he's 77, dropped out. I had Seamus Mitchell, 74, subbing in. His 74 dropped out as well. And so too did Josh Weddle's 68. So not too bad all in all. And ended up looping on Matt Johnson's 96 as well. Looks a real player, this bloke. So if you haven't got him, try and target him this week. In terms of good performers, everyone pretty much went well. Everyone else either got to sort of low 90s or into the tons. So pretty happy with that. James Sicily, of course, 136. Weighed down, I guess, by the upcoming suspension again, no doubt, for his tackle that left McCluggage concussed. Nick Dacos, 118, not too bad, was boosted by a late goal, which got the Pies within a kick in the dying stages of the game against the D's. Tom Stewart, of course, had the bye. As I said, Josh Weddle, 68, but his score fell out of my side. Jordan Dawson, 95. This bloke is starting to annoy me, really, because ever since I've had him in my side, he has scored pretty ordinary, apart from the game in round 11 against the Lions. He's got an 89, 92, 106 and a 95. Not good enough. The part that really annoys me is he's renowned for his really nice kicking, good disposal. But ever since I've had him in, it's coincided with his shit kicking just being a feature week in, week out. So rather annoying, but is what it is. Jack Sinclair, 125, finally starting to piece together some nice high ceiling scores, as we know and love from last season. Played some more time in defence, much like he did in round 10, where he scored the 160. So that's the common theme there. With Windhager on the side, meant there was less CBAs to go around, thankfully, and it meant that there was less CBAs for Sinclair, and he spent more time in defence, where he plies his trade to an absolute aplomb. Then we had Harry Sheasel, She's Nuts, 98. Not too bad considering. I probably should delve into my trades first and foremost as well on the weekend, and what I did was choosing between, I guess, punting Sheasel or Jay-Z. Ended up opting for Jay-Z just purely because of that higher price point and because his break-even was around about 170 odd. Ended up trading him out to Cameron, and of course Zeeble ended up tunning up, as is always the case, the week you trade them out. Cameron not too bad on debut, got a 94 or thereabouts. And then of course, again, following on that trend, Wilmot ended up having his season high score of 90 odd. But I ended up trading him to Neil, so hopefully that pays off down the line. So those are my two trades for the weekend. Ching Cotter, 52, didn't need him, but hopefully he keeps his spot heading into the round 14, just because I need him as a bit of a warm body. Bontempelli, 125, not too bad. Timmy Taranto goes from strength to strength, 136, absolutely killing it. Rory Laird was a 156. He was my captain option, after Tim English was my vice captain. I don't have no idea how he got a 99. as I said on our podcast with Liam, like champion data just were applying lipstick, getting down on all fours and ready to go to work, because he should have probably scored maximum of 70. He got absolutely made a meal of in terms of the game that he had against Lysett. Just incredible. But Rory Laird ended up doing quite well as my highest scorer of my team and ended up being the best captaincy choice of the lot. Zachary Merritt, 105, was tagged for a little bit by Ed Kerno. Have no idea how he continues getting games for my mob at Carlton, but that's by the by, and part of that issue is Michael Voss, and hopefully he is gone by this time next week. Lockie Neal, 102. Tom Green, 77. He was the lowest point, I think, in terms of players across the park, apart from Goulden. But his score, as I mentioned earlier, fell out of my best 18. Sammy Walsh, 93. And then Matt Johnson, as I mentioned, 96, came on to the field for me. Tim English, 99. Roe Marshall, 119, hitting some really nice form as well, good timing. Kieran Briggs, just unfortunate that I couldn't play him, and I wish that Rowan Marshall had a forward ruck eligibility. Don't know why he didn't have it from the start of the year. But anyway, Kieran Briggs, 114, name of the game for me, was making cash. Again, made another 66.1k after the weekend, going up 86k the week prior. And he's projected again to go up around about 53.9k with a -6 break even heading into the weekend before his buy in round 15. So he's going to be someone that's going to be super, super juicy to punt. And it means that if he goes up another 53.9k, he will have made 210 or 206k since being in my side over the course of 3 weeks. Is absolutely insanity. And we're calling Chandler the cash cow of the season. I think Briggs is pretty much going to surpass that quite easily at the current rate. But he's my ticket to getting Clary back in my side after his bye this weekend. Josh Dunkley, 148. He's starting to hit his straps quite nicely now. Actually kicked his first goal on the weekend for the Lions, which I thought was surprising. In 13 games, it's taken him to kick a goal. Compared to previous seasons when he's been at the Dogs, he's been really a renowned high, scoring and regular goal kicker in the middle. So now he's past 3 games, he's gone 153, 146, 148. So hitting his straps quite nicely. And plays a home game up against Sydney in round 14. Connor Rosie, 108. Goulden, as I mentioned, a 62. But, no need to trade him. He's going to be a primo in 51% aside. So he affects half the competition. So I wouldn't be too worried. And as we know, when he had that down game, a couple of games later, consecutive games, 156. So he's going to bounce back. Don't worry. He's got West Coast in round 15 as well to help out, and he will bounce back. Don't worry about that. Then we had Cogs, 103, kind of like, par for the course for him. Again, he's pretty highly owned, or 32% of teams, but is what it is for Cogs. Darcy Cameron, 92 on debut. Was the trade-in option off the back of Jay-Z. Was okay. Happy enough with that. And if you can average, close to 100 from here on out and provide a bit of ruck cover once I trade out Briggs and switch Madden back, that's going to be a bonus as well. Outside of that, Seamus Mitchell, 74, made some more cash. He'll be someone I think I'm looking to potentially hold season long. That defensive forward eligibility that I can use to swing with Sheasel could come in handy for the remainder of the season. Went up another 23.1k if I wanted to trade him or use him as a stepping stone to a genuine primo. But I think this week, considering that the Hawks are on the bye, one of these guys is going to make way, whether it be Weddle or Seamus. And as I mentioned, I think that DPP is going to really fall in the favour of Mitchell, and I'm going to have to punt Weddle. Even though Weddle, I think he's got to break in, 39 heading into next week. Is obviously achievable. Could make another 20, 25k over the next couple of weeks. Could hold him if you can, because he's going to play the round 15 game as well. But I think for this week, as it stands, I'm rolling with 17 players. So I either gobble a donut willingly, keep Weddle, or I trade Weddle to a player that's going to play not only this week, but next week as well. And I'll just draw your attention to my, blueprint that I've written out here for my buy plan in terms of trades. And this week I'd forecasted, and going back, of course, this is pre-buys, my plan. So things can change off the back of, obviously injuries and omissions and all that sort of stuff, suspensions, which is cropping up every single week now through these head-high tackles, which is just fucking ridiculous. But I won't delve into that because I'll go on an absolute rant. So I'd forecasted Weddle, obviously having the buy. He's at 340 odd. I've changed that. I projected him to have around about 320. So he's 20k above projection 2 weeks ago, which is good. And Mullen's probably the main trade-in option here. He's going to give me the most bang for buck, which is a 238k in the bank. And at the moment, I've already got 81.8k in the bank as well, courtesy of that trade partly courtesy of that trade from Jay-Z to Darcy Cameron. And both of those prices, figures combined, the bank, money in the bank, plus the money I'm getting from Weddle to Mullen gives me 319.8k and 18 players playing. Heading into next week, round 15, I should say, the week after, Briggs by that stage, I've got to update this. Hopefully he can hit 460. So I had him projected for 434. So if he can hit 460, originally that's an extra 26k. So I'll add that in there now. And if that's the case, that means 26. What's that? 1, 2, 1, roughly, thereabouts. Left in bank by going Briggs to Clary. And then I don't think I've done these sums correctly, potentially. I don't know. Anyway, I'll have to work it out later on. But roughly, my broad plan is trading out Briggs to Oliver, switching Madden back into R3. And of course, I've got Darcy Cameron there as that swing for cover from here on out. And I've got Ford as well, who I'm forecasting to trade to Marek, who will be coming off his bye from round 14, heading into round 15. So he's another one, bottom price rookie, should play for the majority of the year, given the amount of injuries at West Coast and the fact that they picked him up as number one overall in the mid-season rookie draft. So he should get ample opportunity there, and actually kicked his first goal. I think he kicked a couple of goals on the weekend, actually, and scored around about 50 odds. So if he can provide a little bit of cover off the bench in the forward line, that would be super, super handy. I think he's only a forward only as well, which is a bit annoying. He is, I was wishing that he was going to be mid-forward, but not to be. But that's virtually what I'm looking to do. And with that cash left over, it means that I'm going to be able to bring in an extra primo. So what I have done here, and I'll have to bring it up on screen. Alrighty, so this is a little bit of, handy Photoshop work that I've done here. And it virtually shows you the moves that I'm looking to make. So I'll just put it side by side here in terms of, this is a round 15, of course, as well. So it's going to be Weddle to Mullen. So Mullen's there. And then I'm going to be... I've got Darcy Cameron. Obviously, this is I did this plan heading into the weekend. Ford will go to Marek, and Clary, of course, I've got him in R3 there, but that Briggs is Clary, so Clary will go back into the midfield. Madden will go into there, and then in terms of the forward line, Taranto will go back here. Oliver, where Taranto's spot is. I've got cover across both of these guys for the forward line. Mitchell, I can, as I said, swing with Sheasel. And for round 15, it's still looking quite dire, I must admit. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I can't count Sicily now. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So at the moment, we've got 16 players. Did have 17 if Sicily was going to play, but it's not going to be. So 16 players isn't going to be ideal, but I think I'm not going to be the only one in this boat where you're going to have to gobble a donut or two. and just hopeful that the captain that you pick on that given week can make up the difference for one of the donuts. But I think it's going to be struggle town for a lot of coaches. Let me just minimize that and I'll go back to my buy planner here, the blueprint. So at the moment, I've got 7 trades left, which is, of course, where we're at here. That's going to bring us down to 6 trades heading into round 15. And then after those 2 trades with Briggs to Oliver, Ford to Marek, that's going to have us down to 4 trades with, what's it going to be? I think there's still one player that I need to fill a hole. So Stewart comes down here on field with Chincotta. Mullen I've got there for sort of season-long cover on defence. Clary comes in for Taranto. Taranto goes forward, so forward line is set. And then I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle town because, well, I've still got Matt Johnson. He's the sort of the one spot that I need to upgrade to a primo with 4 trades left. I think I will opt to potentially stick with him for as long as I can. And then I'm pretty willing to go from 4 trades down to 3 after round 15, if around 16, by bringing in Himmelberg. So he's probably the one guy that I'm looking to bring in. I was keen on Keys, but I just don't have the cash to do it. More so the trades to do it. So yeah, what it's virtually going to mean that I have to be a little bit frugal after Himmelberg, but I think I'm willing to wait with Sicily, considering the amount of trades that I've got left. I think I'm going to have to hold him. Hopefully he's not out for any longer than 3 weeks. If it's 2 weeks, that'd be even better. But it means that I'm going to have to potentially rely on, which isn't ideal. Who could I swing back? There's no one really I could swing back if I keep hold of Sicily. That's the only thing. I'm going to have to rely on Chincotta, virtually. Stewart comes on, Chincotta covers. Or if I try and swing a Seamus Mitchell back somehow and get him to cover, which I wouldn't mind. The thing you got to keep in mind with if you're keeping Sicily, and we discussed this on the podcast as well, so check it out. Liam and I have a really intense, in-depth discussion about Sicily and the merits of holding him and punting him. And the crux of virtually what we came to the conclusion of is that it comes down to the number of trades you got left, which is pretty obvious. But this time of the year, if you're in a situation like Liam and myself, where you're kind of coming out of buys and you've maybe got 5 to 6 trades left, sort of optimal, you could maybe trade out Sicily. But if you're in a situation where you've got sub 4 trades, I would think very, very long and hard about keeping Sicily. First and foremost, the people who trade him out, it's going to be a similar situation to, I guess, Clary Oliver. The people who traded him out traded him to another primo and didn't have much cash left over, or they used that excess cash to then upgrade elsewhere. And for those people that traded Oliver out and didn't bring in Briggs, they don't have a cash cow that have generated enough cash to then bring Clary back in. At this point in the season, Briggs is going to be the last big cash cow that we've had for the rest of the season, and you can hang your hat on that. Which means those people that are trading out Sicily, even if they have excess trades to bring him back in, are going to find it very, very hard unless they keep cash in the bank somewhere or trade in, a super fattened cash cow, like a Weddle, like a Seamus Mitchell, in order to bring him back in. Aside from sort of that route, there's no way they're going to be able to bring him back in. And then factoring in dwindling trades, can you afford to use 2 trades on trading Sicily out and then back in again? If he's gone for 2 to 3 weeks, you could potentially look at it like, those people that have held Clary Oliver over the past 3 weeks, heading into 4 weeks with his buy. Hasn't been ideal for those people. And I mean, they didn't bargain for this situation to happen with Clary. But if you look at it from that perspective, a vast majority of those people that traded Clary out won't be able to afford to bring him back in unless you've got bulk cash and trades aside. I'm lucky in the fact that I've got Briggs. I can use him as a bit of my ticket to bring the pink sweaty pig back in. But with Sicily, it's going to be a different kettle of fish, as I mentioned. So I think coming into the back part of the season, once he returns, he's going to be a super, super primo pod. And in terms of his scoreline in recent weeks, we know what he's been able to produce and the ceiling that's been elevated since he's gone back into that intercepting role over the past few weeks. And look at this. All you need to look at is from round 9 onwards, and he's had 134, 134, 172, and a 136. So if that's well above what he's averaging for the season. So if you're getting those scores once he returns, I mean, Liam and I went into it in a bit more detail, but virtually the next best scoring in terms of highest owned primos is Stewart, who's averaging a 110.5. But again, he's still averaging, 20, 30 points on the next best in Stewart. So if you're getting 20 and 30 extra points on the opposition and on the bulk of the competition, he could be a bit of a sneaky diamond in the rough if you're patient enough. If you have the cover to do it, of course. If you don't have cover to do it, you're just going to be forced into a corner to trade him out. So that's probably the, I guess, obvious answer is trade him out if he's 3 weeks onwards. But I'm thinking long and hard about keeping him. Himmelberg, I think, coming into the side is going to help me. But I'll have to shuffle the deck chairs, I think, a little bit more. I haven't really had much of a chance to look at how my team's going to look beyond this week, apart from that shoddy Photoshop job that I did heading into the weekend. But I think, first and foremost, if I can have cover, like, for example, if, Himmelberg comes on and I have to rely on, say, a Chincotta, the difference there, if Himmelberg plays, for example, and I have like Seamus Mitchell to come on and cover Sicily, those people that are trading Sicily to the next best, say, is like in a Stewart, who's averaging 110, isn't averaging close to what Sicily is, you're still losing out 20 points anyway. If Seamus Mitchell is coming on to, I guess, cover Sicily or cover, those people that have Stewart, for example, that's a 40-point differential. It's close to 40 if you sort of boost up Seamus to, cut it off at 70 just to even things out. So 40 points over, say, 3 weeks, that's 120 points over 3 weeks that you're missing out on in comparison playing Seamus Mitchell compared to a Tom Stewart, who is a trade-out candidate or trade-in candidate for James Sicily, if you get what I mean. So 120-point difference over 3 weeks, is it worth a trade? And then potentially another trade to bring Sicily back in? I don't think so. So it's similar to that sort of conundrum that we had with Clary Oliver. It's practically the same thing. It's a primo that's going to be a definite top scorer in their line. At the moment, I think Sicily is, what is he? He's the third highest ranking defender score-wise overall. So, yeah, it's something to factor in. And if you're in a situation like me and you've got, the top line primos, I guess, or the top tier keepers / primos in defence, who do you go for apart from Himmelberg? I'm not a fan of Daniel. I'm not a fan of... Let's have a look. Let's have a quick squeeze. So there's Daniel. Zeeble, I traded out. Don't like him. Don't like Luke Ryan. He's scoring consistency. He just isn't there historically. Just have a look across seasons gone. He's not someone you can rely upon. Dan Houston's, again, falls into the similar boat as Luke Ryan. Got the Shees. Redmond, I don't trust. Don't trust Dan Rioli. Jack Sinclair got him. Darcy Moore, don't trust. Tom Stewart, I've got him. Jake Lloyd, again, I don't trust. He's scoring... He hasn't got the scoring ceiling like he used to have. His floor's not too bad, but again, fallen away there a few weeks. I think the only other one which I'd be looking at is Ridley. Again, his form lines come good. Went up 29k on the weekend, but it's due to that favourable role. But again, how long is it going to last? Will it last? Will it change? Doherty had a bit of a downer. Again, I wouldn't be trusting any Carlton players at the moment. Take it from me as a Carlton man. So I think in terms of other options, none are too crash hot. None really stand out to me as potential top 6 scoring players. And as replacement options for Sicily. It's just none stand out. So I'm thinking of potentially taking a haircut over 2 to 3 weeks. Hopefully it's 2 weeks, because then if I can play a James Mitchell in his spot, or someone like that, and really limit the damage. And as I said, 120 points difference, that's negligible. Really, I can make up those points in 1 week. Like, for example, this bye round, I performed quite well and cut my rank by a third. So I guess that gives me a little bit of a head start ahead of the competition. I can potentially expect to have a bit of a down round in round 15. Anyway, it is what it is. If Sicily is another donut, oh well, that's fine. At least it's one of those weeks is on a bye week. And then if he's out for an extra week for the 2 weeks, I'm fingers crossed, fingers and toes are crossed that it's minimised to that if he doesn't get off, of course. But yeah, I'll just have to really wait and see how the cards fall. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, the only trade I'm looking to do is potentially a Weddle, or even maybe a Chincotta. I'll have to look in terms of how much cash they'll have left over. As I mentioned now, with Briggs sort of exceeding expectations, making more cash, likewise Ford, it means I've got extra cash left over. So I'll need to work out how best to use that cash. I will be eyeing off someone like a Mills for my M8 spot. Comes at a discount, will be very, very, very cheap, but comes down to as to what point of the season he returns. He's got a break even at 169. And if he scores an 84, he's projected to lose 38.6k. So, for example, there, like if he scores 84 and 79 in his first 2 games back, his break even is still going to be in the 160s. And he's going to drop to as low as 400k, which that's 242k cheaper than his starting price. And at that scoreline there of 80s, 90s, 100s, I'd take that, absolutely. I'll be jumping on that for an M8, 100%. And then, yeah, if I can hold on to 3 trades or thereabouts for the remainder of the year with guys like I want to keep Matt Johnson for the remainder of the year as cover. Really, really good scorer, super intelligent, smart young player, with a bit of X factor as well. So love him. I'll have Chincotta on the bench if I need to rely on him. Himmelberg as well in defence will come on. And then I've got Darcy Cameron covering in the ruck and James Mitchell, probably Mullen as well in defence, and Ford will go to Marek. So I think I'm well stocked in terms of cover for the remainder of the year. And I think if I've got 3 trades remaining, they'll definitely just be for 3+ week injuries, but with ample cover. Who knows? I could potentially use it as a bit of a looping opportunity across each line. I've got DPP across multiple lines, which is always handy as well. But we'll have to assess from week to week how we go. But that's pretty much how my team, performed on the weekend and the way that I'm looking at things beyond this week, heading in to the remaining 2 bye rounds. But as always, if you've got any questions, if you have any comments about my own style, strategies, if you have any, questions with regards to your own teams or just generic questions that you'd love answered, feel free to list them in the comment section below, and always happy to help ahead of the round upcoming, which of course is kicking off relatively early again, another Thursday game. So looking forward to that. But that's pretty much it. If you haven't tuned into our weekly podcast or vodcast, depending on how you prefer to consume it, whether it be audio or audio-visual on YouTube, check out that as well. But this is it for my round 13 Damo's Team Talk. So thanks for tuning in. And as always, we'll catch you same time, same place. We'll see you next time. All the best for the round ahead.